my name is Shirgi, and the piece you just heard is my first fugue. I feel a little embarrassed to call it a fugue because I'm not sure if it deserves such a title, but nevertheless it's the one I've given it. It's not a very complicated one, it's just based on a single phrase, this Latin phrase here, which I believe means, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy." I thought maybe it might get a little too repetitive if I played it for too long, so it's only like a minute long. Nevertheless, I'm going to explain to you how I wrote it. The thing that I always had trouble with when I was writing canons and fugues in the past was that it always sounded like it was meandering too much without any sense of forward direction. I was trying to harmonize with my melodies, but it just wasn't harmonizing or resolving in a satisfying way, especially after I tried to emulate the style in Fuchs's book, Steps to Parnassus, the old textbook on counterpoint, the dusty old covers. I took note of those rules and they didn't seem particularly difficult. It was more like an extension of what I already studied from four-part harmony. However, when I actually listened to the examples that Fuchs gives in that book, well, I didn't like them, okay? I'm not even going to try to be nice. I didn't think they sounded very good at all. I think what Fuchs has to say in that book is important, and of course his point is that counterpoint is supposed to make your melodies stand out individually, which is of course the goal that we're trying to achieve with four-part harmony rules. However, the music that he himself wrote, at least gave as an example in that textbook, I think it's not very interesting. I suppose it's interesting in that it follows such strict rules in order to create that sense of independence between the melodies. That doesn't mean I like it though. So in order to take what I learned from counterpoint and also have some kind of forward direction harmonically in my music, I used, well, good old-fashioned chords. So if we go over here to the left, I've actually hidden an instrument, which is an entire pipe organ, which is laying out every single chord that this piece has, or at least this piece is dancing around. Basically what I've done is that I've just outlined some very simple chords. I know they have all these fancy symbols, but I promise they're simple. They're just Dorian chords, at least to start. I wrote them out using whatever rules I decided to use for my harmony, and then I kind of structured the melodies around that using the chords as a guide. And the chords aren't heard in the final product, but they're a good outline. As you can see here, of course, these chords weren't meant to be in the final product. Look at that, parallel fifth, parallel fourth, parallel octave, all the parallels. By having these chords somewhat in place and the ghost of them being heard throughout these melodies, it creates that sense of forward direction that I wanted. Since I know you're curious, I will play the first few measures with the organ chords. As you could definitely hear there, the organ voicings are very sporadic and basically make zero sense. It sounds like your hands are leaping all over the keyboard, but whatever. The point is that the harmonic structure, the skeleton is there for me to build off of. Oh yeah, and I put the playback in woodwinds because I don't have any good like solo voice patches for my muse score. So instead, I just put them with woodwinds. You get the idea. It's just there to make it sound good. If I had any extremely quick counterpoint tips, I would suggest if you want to write like this, go study it up yourself, go pick up a book or something or watch a YouTube video series. But as some extremely quick tips, I would say put your voices in contrary motion. It's quite interesting that way, by which I mean if one melody's going up, the other one's going down. If one melody's going down, the other one's going up. Easy peasy. If you have more than two voices playing, then perhaps have the upper two go up and the lower two go down, or the upper two go down and the lower two go up, etc., etc. I also found that when you're writing for lots of melodies, you ought to just have some of these guys play kind of droning notes. Not really anything fancy like all the eighth note runs that are going on here. They're just playing some very simple half note and quarter note patterns. Right around this point here, I was just having a little bit of fun harmonizing the melody with itself. I would also say like having a good subject is really vital to inspiring yourself to continue the piece. Because before, when I previously attempted to write fugues, I feel like I couldn't get anywhere because the subject, which is the main melody, isn't so interesting. But I think having a text to go along with it kind of sparked my creativity. In a way, having some kind of text to sing along with made it easier for the melody to come to me. I really don't have any solid advices on writing melodies in general, because for me, it's just something that arises out of my, I guess, what you could call musical intuition. I know that's not very helpful, but I assume as a composer, you actually know what I'm talking about. Taking a text, specifically a Latin one, really enforced the meter that I was to work with. So, for example, long vowels you can assign to longer rhythms, logarithms, or you can fancy them up a little bit, add a few ornaments here and there. But by establishing a rhythm, that really got rid of some of the weight off of my shoulders of writing the subject, because no longer did I have to come up with a melody and a rhythm for it at the same time, but the rhythm's already taken care of for me, so all I had to do was come up with the melody for it. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure when I wrote this melody, I kind of just dragged notes around in MuseScore until it sounded good. And hey, repetition legitimizes, so as a fugue is nothing but repetition the entire time, I feel pretty legitimized. So those conclude my brief comments on this piece. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you at least learned something from my novice attempt at a fugue. If you have any suggestions for me, please tell me down below in the comments. If you liked my video, then please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you later. Bye bye!